Sprinkle by TKO or KO, I will tell you the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable.
Beautiful knee from the plum.
And she seconds Jena Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack.
Bishop in trouble.
And that does it. First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silenced it.
Jena Bishop just shook up women's MMA. And her target wasn't Dakota Ditcheva. It was Valentina Shevchenko. After losing to Dakota, Jena didn't trash her opponent or make excuses. Instead, she praised Dakota as a monster, a scary striker, and the best kicker in the game. Then she dropped a bombshell warning aimed at Valentina. "She'll kill you in there." That single line, equal parts compliment, warning, and controversy, is now sending shockwaves through the MMA world. And tonight we break it all down.
I think she's a pretty, a really good, striker, kick.
First, let's set the stage. Jena Bishop is no rookie. She's a world-class grappler who made the transition into MMA. But when she stepped in against Dakota Ditcheva, she faced a fighter with terrifying precision, speed, and striking. Bishop admitted the loss was eye-opening, and instead of downplaying Dakota's skills, she doubled down on them. She openly credited Dakota, calling her a monster, a scary striker, and the best kicker in MMA, rare honesty in this sport. But then she flipped that respect into a warning, and she aimed it directly at Valentina. Why Valentina Shevchenko? Because she's the standard, the fighter everyone measures themselves against at Flyweight, the reigning queen who defended her belt time and again. But Bishop is essentially saying, Valentina, if you face Dakota, this isn't just another title defense. This is different. This is dangerous. That's a bold take, especially since most fighters build themselves up by declaring they'll be the one to beat Valentina. Instead, Bishop flipped the script, warning that Dakota is a real threat. Think about how controversial that is. A veteran grappler, fresh off a loss, outright saying Valentina won't survive.
Oh, head kick. Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, that was a perfectly placed head kick.
Body. Same high with the head kick. I mean, oh my goodness.
Dakota Diva isn't hype. She's results. Undefeated. Finishing fights fast, and striking with not just accuracy but sheer violence. She's proving every bit of the buzz is real. That's why Bishop's quote was an exaggeration. It was fear made verbal. Fans recognized this wasn't just respect. It was a warning. Because if you really listen, Bishop said what most fighters are too afraid to admit. Dakota is the #1 threat in women's MMA right now. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. So what happens if these two collide? Valentina Shevchenko brings championship composure, years of experience, and surgical striking. Dakota brings youth, explosiveness, and raw aggression. One is a master of patience and defense. The other a storm that ends fights in the first round. Bishop's words elevated this matchup from fantasy talk to a serious debate. Could Dakota actually retire the queen of Flyweight, or would Valentina school the rising star and remind the world why they call her the Bullet? Fans didn't take Bishop's warning lightly. Some call it promo genius, saying she used her own loss to put herself back in the headlines, while others dismiss it as delusional hype riding. But regardless of which side you're on, the fact is you're talking about it, and that's exactly how callouts work. Bishop just forced Dakota versus Valentina into every fan conversation, and that's how you sell a super fight. The bottom line is this. Jena Bishop dropped a bombshell that could reshape the women's flyweight division, turning her loss into a direct warning for Valentina Shevchenko. She's a monster. She's the best kicker. She'll destroy you. Whether you see it as smart promotion or true prophecy, one thing is undeniable. Dakota Ditcheva is now at the center of every conversation about the future of the division. So here's the question. If Valentina Shevchenko and Dakota Ditcheva collide, who wins, the veteran queen of precision or the undefeated striker known as the queen of violence? Drop your predictions in the comments. Hit like if you want more fire breakdowns, and subscribe so you don't miss the next time a fighter drops a bombshell call-out.
Headline, I think that'd be amazing. I think when Dakota's healthy, I would love a chance to be able to fight Dakota.
She could start asserting some dominance on this round, in my opinion. Oh, bigger. Bishop's in bed. And Liz Carmouche goes out a world tournament.
Liz Carmouche just dropped a bombshell at PFL World Tournament 9. Fresh off a brutal TKO win, the 41-year-old veteran grabbed the MIC and called out none other than Dakota Ditcheva, the undefeated golden girl of the PFL, and demanded the promotion open a brand new women's bantamweight division so she can headline a super fight at 135 pounds. This came after Carmouche went to war with Jena Bishop, surviving near-submission scares early before digging deep and finishing her in round 3 with a vicious counter left hook and ground and pound, a victory that earned her the 2025 PFL Women's Flyweight Tournament title, a $500,000 prize check, and extended her win streak to 3 while making her 12-1 since leaving the UFC. At 41, she's still adding belts to her resume, but it wasn't a knockout that shook the MMA world. It was a call-out. Carmouche, a former UFC title challenger, the last Bellator flyweight champion, and now a PFL tournament winner, has already fought the best of her generation. Yet instead of coasting, she's chasing the next big thing. Dakota Ditcheva, the undefeated striker being hyped as PFL's version of Valentina Shevchenko. That's where the controversy hits. On one hand, Carmouche is 41 but riding the hottest run of her career. On the other, Dakota is in her prime, a violent finisher drawing comparisons to Amanda Nunes and Valentina. So the question is, does this move prove Liz is chasing greatness, or is she walking straight into jaws of a younger lion?
Fellas, really gotten behind your teammate Dakota Ditcheva. First off, what do you think of her performances so far this year?
Oh, she's a killer. She's a killer. She's the future of MMA, and I think that she's only getting better. She's young, she's hungry, she's disciplined, she's motivated.
And remember, Kayla Harrison has already claimed Dakota would finish Valentina Shevchenko in just 15 seconds. Now Liz Carmouche is essentially volunteering to step into that same fire. If this fight happens at 135, it could redefine the women's game, or it could get ugly fast. Let's not forget, Carmouche is already a trailblazer, the first woman ever to fight in the UFC back in 2013 against Ronda Rousey, a former Bellator champion with 3 title defenses, and now a PFL tournament winner with $500,000 in the bank. She's fought the legends of her era, but calling out Dakota proves she isn't stuck in the past. She wants to test herself against the future. That's legacy talk. That's GOAT talk. For Dakota, though, this is also a gift. Imagine headlining against Carmouche, beating her, and cementing herself as a star to carry PFL women's MMA into the next era. Liz Carmouche dropped a bombshell at PFL World Tournament 9, and now the ball is in Dakota Ditcheva's court. Will the PFL create a new bantamweight division and book the super fight? Will Dakota accept the challenge? Or will Carmouche's legendary run finally hit the brick wall of an undefeated monster? One thing's certain, this is a fight nobody saw coming, but now everyone wants to see. So drop your thoughts. Does Liz Carmouche have a real shot, or will Dakota run through her like everyone else? Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this story is only getting crazier.
No, I look up to her a lot. I still want to be in her position and be able to...
Dakota Ditcheva, 15 wins, 0 losses, one of the most exciting undefeated killers in MMA, just beat Sumiko Inaba at PFL Africa with style, power, and total control. But instead of celebrating, she was in tears. I think I've injured my left hand. I'm more gutted because I've been out for so long and I'm injured again, she admitted. You could see it in her eyes. This wasn't just a broken hand. It was a breaking point inside. What was supposed to be her big return turned into another setback, leaving her with pain, a damaged hand, and more time on the shelf. And here's the harsh reality. Fans have been begging for Dakota to make the jump to the UFC. Laura Senko even called her the violent Cinderella who could rescue the entire women's division. But with this injury, it looks like the UFC just got ghosted. That's right. Dakota didn't jump ship. She doubled down. She just re-signed with the PFL, calling it a great agreement, while some fans see it more like a shackle. Think about it. A 15-0 record, a global fan base, highlight reel knockouts, and still no UFC debut. So what's really going on here? Is this loyalty to the league that built her? Is the UFC overlooking one of the biggest prospects in women's MMA? Or did the PFL simply back up the Brinks truck and make her an offer she couldn't refuse?
I have just re-signed with PFL. We've come to...
Let's not forget, Dakota Ditcheva obliterated Tyler Santos back in November 2024, a UFC veteran KO'd like she didn't belong, and then vanished for months with injuries. Just as her hype hit its peak, the same story played out again. Another comeback, another injury, another delay. Fans are starting to wonder, is Dangerous Dakota cursed? Or maybe, just maybe, this is part of the bigger play. The PFL has the money, and Dakota has the look, the record, and the killer instinct. Could she become the face of the PFL? Could she bring more fire than Kayla Harrison and more destruction than Chris Cyborg? She's building her kingdom on her terms. But here's the risk. If the injuries keep piling up and the UFC door stays closed, Dakota could become the biggest what-if in women's MMA history. Right now, she's crying in victory, re-signing with a company that still hasn't given her the octagon stage, and warning the world that her latest injury may sideline her again. But when she returns, she won't be coming back to compete. She'll be coming back to kill. And Dana White better be ready, because a violent Cinderella doesn't want a glass slipper. She wants blood.